They wasted no time. Biden has not even been inaugurated yet, and they're already introducing bills to the 117th round of Congress to potentially take away your gun rights on a varying platform. Now, I'm going to be talking about 5 bills today, the text of which has not been uploaded to congress.gov, but we're going to be discussing the kind of basics of them and the titles and what's going on. This is something that's important to get out in front of and discuss and share with your Congress critters your distaste for these laws as early as possible. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this channel. It's my merch company, Shall Not Comply. We got cool shirts. We got more shirts on the way. I want to say thank you to everyone that supports the channel, helps me keep doing this, helps me share information with you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So let's go here. We're going to start just in order. It's HR 121, 125, 127, 130, and 167 that have been kind of circulating around. The important thing to note is if you Google these, it might pull up the previous session of Congress, the 116th Congress. You're going to want to make sure that you're on the 117th. I'm going to have links to these down below so that you can see them for yourself and kind of get an idea of what's going on. So, HR 121, you know the best thing about the government? The ATF. The ATF is just an excellent organization. I'm so glad that they are going to be providing for the hiring of 200 new BATF agents and investigators to enforce gun laws. I was really concerned that they weren't going to be able to burn down as many people's houses or maybe kill as many dogs, but it seems as if they're really getting out in front of it. They're seeing that a lot of people probably aren't going to be complying with laws, and they think that, hey, we should probably prepare for this. So I'm glad to see that the ATF is stepping up their game. HR 125, to amend Title 18 to provide for a 7-day waiting period before any semi-auto firearm, a silencer, armor-piercing ammunition, or a large-capacity ammunition magazine may be transferred. I really think someone's got to tell them, they threw a silencer in there. The shortest period of time that I think I have ever heard from the Form 1 people about a Form 1 suppressor getting approved is around 30 to 40 days. For a Form 4, one that you buy from a dealer, I've heard people say that it's currently in the 200 to 300 day range, which 7-day waiting period before you could transfer it. Yeah, I think they're good on that one, bro. Ultimately, when you look at the bans on these types of firearms, we can look at the DOJ from the 1994 to 2004 assault weapon ban. We saw that the U.S. Department of Justice evaluated that and showed that it had no effect on violent crime, as violent crime has been decreasing over the years regardless of what has been passed as far as gun control. HR 127 to provide the licensing of firearm and ammo possession and the registration of firearms. So basically what this is going to be is saying that in order to exercise your right to keep and bear arms, you're going to have to get a license. Hey, licensing to exercise a right. Yeah, that seems legit. Definitely nothing wrong with that. They're definitely not, infringing on a right there. I don't think that they're going to make it cost a lot or make it be time prohibited or make it so that poor people or anyone that's not wealthy with a bunch of free time on their hands would be able to get it. I'm sure they're going to be very fair with how they issue these permits. HR 130, to require the safe storage of firearms and ammunition and to require the investigation of reports of improper storage of firearms and ammunition. The first part, I'm not so concerned about because in the state of California currently we have laws similar to this, and while I disagree with them, it's almost impossible to enforce. This second part, and to require the investigation of reports of improper storage of firearms or ammunition. So basically what this sounds like to me is a potential situation where someone could rat you out and say, hey, they see me having videos where my guns are just chilling on my couch. Would that constitute them needing to go out and do a research and see if all my guns are properly stored? Don't like that whatsoever. What someone does in the privacy of their own home, all up to them. Not everyone can afford a safe, and a safe really just buys you time. Any good criminal with the right tools can break into any safe. So HR 167, to prohibit the transfer of a firearm at a gun show by a person who is not a federally licensed firearms dealer. This is the one that I actually see most likely passing. This is the one that forever, I think that the Democrats have been talking about closing the gun show loophole. Now, let's describe what the gun show loophole is and what it isn't. Any FFL, a federally licensed firearms dealer, at a gun show that sells a gun to a private citizen must still comply with all federal and state laws while doing that. They're still an FFL. They still have to do their paperwork and transfer it to that person legally. But at gun shows in other states, not California, a lot of people have the legal ability to go to a gun show as a private individual and say, hey, I want to get rid of my old grandfather's M1. They have a desk, they have a table. Someone comes, says, hey, I'll give you cash for that. They give it to them. And as long as they're have no reason to believe that they are a prohibited person, that's totally legal and totally fine. This bill seems like it's going to be stopping that type of transaction. It would still seemingly, we don't have the text of it, but just going based off the wording, an actual FFL at a gun show would still be able to do that, but the unlicensed face-to-face, person-to-person transactions seem to be the target of this. If we're thinking in terms of, like, you know, political moves, I see this as the most likely happening. I think that we're going to see a lot of really bad anti-gun bills. I think the likelihood of an assault weapon ban would be very high, considering that the Democrats are going to have the House, Senate, and the presidency. So there's really nothing stopping them from passing these laws if they really want to ram them through. This is the one that I think they're going to necessarily want to go after first, or be their concession and say, hey, look, we're doing something. We made a difference. So for me, I see this as the most likely to pass. So really what we need to do now is everybody needs to contact their senators, contact their Congress members, and say, hey, please do not go through with this. This would be a horrible thing for us to have to experience. These are just 6. Now, someone in my Discord actually described Sheila Jackson and Al Green as they kind of like to shotgun out a whole bunch of different bills and see what sticks. You know, they're just going to scatter that pattern out there, and one of them might hit. I think the most likely to hit would be the one, HR 167, introduced by Al Green from Texas. So thank you, Texas, for that. The one to prohibit the firearms transfer at a gun show by a non-FFL. I think this is ultimately the one that's going to be most likely, but all of these bills would be bad. And these are only just what they've introduced so far. I really do see the likelihood of an assault weapon ban being a lot higher now. I wasn't really super concerned back in the Obama era, because it was kind of, you know, they never really had the power. Republicans had a little bit enough of a control to stop them from being able to ram anything through. So, but now that they've got the House, Senate, and the presidency, and we've already seen these assault weapon ban bills be introduced in previous sessions of Congress, they just have to basically say, hey, slap them up there on the 117th, and we're good to go. I am not looking forward to the next 4, potentially 8 years. So if you want to make a difference now, contact your representatives, contact your senators, please. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.